Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country love, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine. When I was in school, we used to sing something like this. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. Look here, I'm talking about America, sweet America. God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Saving brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, I love you, America, because my God done shed his grace on me, and you ought to love him for it, because he crowned thy good. He told me he would. Saving brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
To all those who lost their lives, to all those who were sent out to places like Iraq and Afghanistan and didn't make it home, to all the families from who are still affected, from the Chamber of Sages, we just want to say we love you and we still remember 9/11.
All right. Now that that's out the way, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Oh, snap. Is this who I think it is? Is this Brother Tony on the line?
Oh, yeah. It's me.
Oh, snap. Now, Brother Tony, I made it up in my mind. I need to give you your own theme song, so every time you call in, I can just play it.
Man, you crazy. All right.
I'm just a little crazy. Not to mention, the Sage of Truth actually got some stuff he wanted to talk to you about offline. You'll be really interested in it. And real quick, just so I'm not keeping everybody out of too much of a private conversation, I will say this to everybody: the Sage of Truth has something pretty huge, pretty crazy planned. So listen to the Sages Squared Circle to find out more. Not Sages Squared Circle, excuse me. Listen to A Word with the Sage on Saturdays at 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturdays. Like I said, the Sage Truth has something crazy planned, and I'm not even talking about the PlayStation 4 giveaway. There's something else that he's planning, and you can listen to that broadcast to find out more information about it. You definitely want to be a part of it. A Word with the Sage is a pretty awesome show in which is geared towards bringing like-minded nerds together. So yeah, that's something to listen to. Other than that, Brother Tony,
what's that?
I spoke on some pretty big news, and I'm not even going to talk about Monday Night Raw today. I'm not going to talk about WWE today. I tried to. It just didn't work out because I went to a blue-collared wrestling event this past Sunday.
Okay.
And, brother, the matches were off the chain. I was talking about it a little bit. But man, we're talking about you've heard of a bull rope match, right?
Yes.
Where both guys are handcuffed. Yeah. Well, I saw a camel bell match today.
Camel
bell rope match.
A camel bell rope match.
Yes, it's the same idea. It's the same idea, but when you have somebody like Daivala Dubachi, who is the UIWA North American champion, you can expect things to get. I learned very quickly. You can expect stuff to get crazy. Dude, that match was bloody. And from the word that I heard around, and let me put it this way: it was so loud, I felt like I was in an arena. That's how loud it got. That's how much people were on their feet. I mean, you heard a lot of cheering. It went crazy. Not only that, the other wrestler by the name of Keith, and unfortunately I can't remember his last name. Hopefully my boy Demetri will call in and he'll correct me on it. But it was so loud in there, the building may as well had shook. And these two guys put it all in the ring. Actually, every match, that's exactly what happened. They left it all in the ring, man. And it was just off. It was just off the hook. The only other big news that I can say in the mainstream stuff is the fact that good old JR Jim Ross actually retired about a good 2 hours 30 minutes ago. He retired from wrestling officially.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, I said my little piece about it, and due to the fact that I love what I saw at BCW so much, I don't mind talking more about it. However, you've been, I call you our. Not only do I call you our manager every now and again, but I also call you our local historian. I know there's a lot in regards to good old JR Jim Ross as far as his over 20 illustrious years of working in wrestling. And he announces that he's officially retiring. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to me, that's another part of wrestling history, very important part of wrestling history. And to me, it's another important part of, what I grew up on. And what people, they say, well, 20 years in the business, But you have to understand, all of the different places and all the different events that this man, Jim Ross, has been a part in. They say 20 years in wrestling. That's 20 years, but Ross has been around wrestling for longer than 20 years, though. I'm going to tell you that. Yep. They must be talking about 20 years with the WWE. That's what they mean when they say 20 years. Because Jim Ross, well, he was, at first, he was a college football play-by-play commentator. And he got in, of course, he broke in through my favorite promoter in the world, Bill Watts.
Right.
He broke in through Watts, and he was at first a referee, and then he became a ring announcer, and then he became the play-by-play commentator. He was the man that replaced the late Boyd Pierce, and I'm sure maybe some of your fans are too young to remember the late Boyd Pierce. When Bill Watts took his promotion, or attempted to take his promotion national with UWF, Ross was in the forefront. He was in the forefront when they were competing against Vince. But realistically, and I'm just going to do this side tangent, and I'm going to keep it moving.
Go ahead.
As far as in-ring work and as far as action, Vince McMahon could not compete with Watts. It was the other stuff that he was able to get off, but he couldn't compete with them. But that's neither here nor there. When Watts went out of business, he sold the UWF to Crockett, and Crockett didn't do shit with it. He took like 3 stars and made him famous, and they let Ross go to WCW. And he had his stint there in WCW, and his stint in WCW was legendary. And a lot of people don't know the backstory. They didn't want him on that program.
Yep.
Tony Schiavone and Crockett, and I think it was Cottle and the rest of them, they put Jim Ross on the B brand or in the house or arena shows. But he was just so damn good that they had to wind up moving him to WTBS on Saturdays. And, you know, all the things that he had to get through and go through in this business just to be, you know, just to do what he loved doing, and that was calling wrestling matches. All the bullshit and backstage politics, and then there was the thing with Eric Bischoff, the exit, you know, from WCW with Eric Bischoff, which, you know, of course forced him to go to WWE in the first place. But Jim Ross has some time in. My teenage years, my formative years, was shaped by listening to that man call matches. And that man made those programs, whether it be the National Wrestling Alliance, WTBS in 87, 88, and 89, on up until when he quit, or went to WWE, excuse me. He made those programs exciting. It wasn't Schiavone. It wasn't Crockett. Cottle was okay. But if anybody will tell you, Jim Ross was the voice of the National Wrestling Alliance in the mid to late 80s, early 90s. It was Jim Ross. He had paid his dues in the business, and, you know, he came up the hard way. He came up under Watts, and that says a lot to me. So the fact that this man is leaving today, the fact that this man has retired today is, I'm sure it's probably a happy moment for him, but I think it's probably appropriate for him to leave because, truth be told, Dynamite Truth, this is not Jim Ross's era. This is just not his era. Wrestling has metamorphed into something else, and it's become something else. And when it becomes something else, it's time for new people to step up to the plate. Jim Ross was also the voice of the Attitude Era. He was, no doubt, he was the voice of the Attitude Era.
Absolutely. Hey, Brother Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure. I'm having technical difficulties over here, and I have to call in through my phone now.
Okay. Yeah, but Ross was the voice of the Attitude Era. He was the voice of the Attitude Era for the WWE, previously WWF, and I think his contributions as far as scouting talent, his contributions as far as recruiting talent, as far as his on-screen contributions are immense. And I don't think that, you know, we're going to see anyone ever again